nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture.
Yes, sir.
We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
Georgia and everyone else around the world through the Wood Wide Web. This is the Morning Roast live in the Doghouse for Monday, July 15, 2013 with Irv, Ed, and DB.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. It's 73 degrees outside, very, very cloudy with a high chance of rain and thunderstorms with a high of 85 and a low of 71.
It feels as clammy as it's going to get, dude.
Oh, yes, yes. And
you know, one of those mornings you wake up and it's like Sticky Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What are we calling this? Monday is what? Usually what?
Manic Monday.
Manic Monday. Nothing like a manic Monday.
Give homage to the Bengals for that.
All right, I want to say hello to, we got DS Photo Guy on. How your dick hanging? Good morning. Michelle Stacy and Hydroponic. Good morning.
So we got that 100-year-old lady, so she's on the World Wide Web now. How your dick hanging, Sonny?
Yeah, well, it's always good to have the elderly on.
Yes.
But anyway, hope you guys are doing well this morning. I know that
yes,
it's been an emotional roller coaster all weekend.
Oh yes.
Watching this Trayvon Zimmerman trial, or George Zimmerman, whatever his name is, George Zimmerman. And the Trayvon Martin debacle.
Mm-hmm.
Some to talk about. Basically, you know, what I've been putting out is, you know, the jury spoke. I'm not happy with it. There's more issues than just the Trayvon issue. I think we ought to look at the overall context of what we ought to learn from all this. You know, my biggest beef right now is that this young kid got killed, and this guy got away with it, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, this is kind of the same thing that people were feeling about OJ. This kind of brings that same tidal wave of passion and whatever. There was a lot of different protests going around town, and some of them were peaceful, and some were not.
Yes.
You can't just switch sides.
Yeah, kind of. Wow.
What the hell? Well, backwards. Okay.
Man, I'm dyslexic. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is what you would be seeing if you were standing in front of us for real, I guess. But, oh, here we go. Yeah. The world's a bit upside down, guys.
Yeah.
You know. Good morning, Rocco. Good to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just left. Hypoponic. What is he doing? Bouncing around this morning. Good morning, Too Much. And well, let's talk about the obvious news. So what's in the news? What do we got? The Trayvon Martin case was not guilty, and
But he's still going to be facing a civil.
he's going to be going to a civil right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to lose a civil, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be held accountable for
But
something.
what I think all those ladies on the jury, you know, they kind of took it from the neighborhood had been having break-ins.
Yeah.
That's why he was playing rent-a-cop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, civil point of
eager.
Actually, he's not
He
even
was
rent
eager to catch somebody.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would have said, "Hey, how you doing? You staying here? Yeah. Where you staying at? Answer the question. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna sit here while you go home. I have my headlights on. I'll keep an eye on you. Make sure you get home okay.
Yeah.
Then if something happens, then you step in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the 911 operator telling him not to go after him and all that. She had no business. They said that by law she had no business, so he did not break any laws. By her telling him that, he didn't have to listen to her because he wasn't breaking. So just bring up to date on some of the facts.
But it goes back to the training.
First of all, he's not even a cop at all. So that right there negates all that. Secondly, first of all, that's an insult to rent-a-cops, security, because at least security people are hired. He was self-appointed. But I'm going to save the community. You know, that type of stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
well, and not only that. Look, the ground rules of a watchman is exactly that. Neighborhood watchman, not neighborhood trigger-happy guy shooting up black kids. That would be too long of a title. But that's what he took on. He took on the title of somebody who had the authority to go around with a gun, load a gun, and basically ask people questions like, what are you doing here? Whether he had the right to do that, well, possibly, but really when you come down to it, he gave himself the right to do that because he wasn't even appointed by the building management or anything, although they did allow him to do it, but he really wasn't appointed. But all this is causing protests. If you take a look, in Atlanta, a group of demonstrators were downtown to protest Neighborhood Watch volunteer George Zimmerman's acquittal at the death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. The rally was one of several being planned for Sunday afternoon in the metro Atlanta region, and it was expected to travel from the 5 Points MARTA station to the CNN Center. Another rally had been planned for Sunday evening at the city's West End neighborhood as additional rallies began taking shape across the country. Protesters also took to the streets in downtown Atlanta in early Sunday morning hours after a judge in Sanford, Florida announced that 29-year-old Zimmerman was cleared of all charges. Zimmerman has maintained that Martin attacked him and that the shooting was an act of self-defense. There you have it. Well, for those of us that are bereaving this decision, of which I am one, I want to read you something that was written by, I'll say, a Caucasian white man. So it's his perspective. But it really hits to some of the issues that I think we also ought to be talking about. And of course, you could tell this guy is an anti-abortionist. And, so already he's got an agenda. But I'm going to read you part of his blog of what he said. Let's talk about dead black children. That's the name of his, his blog. And he says, I want to say something to the people who are taken to the streets, or more commonly to the internet, to express their outrage at the impartial female jury found a Hispanic man, once again, you misusing that word, not guilty of committing a crime in the state couldn't prove. I need to tell you about something. I really hope that you read this and think about it. You say that you're angry and heartbroken about this case. You tell me you aren't what you appear to be, vengeful and vindictive. That you are instead sincerely distressed and grief-stricken because a black child is dead. You tell me that you feel as though nobody cares about Trayvon Martin's demise because he was a black kid. You tell me you want justice for an innocent and innocent reparation, for the innocent and reparations for the helpless soul that has been slaughtered. The NAACP has asked Obama to impose double jeopardy on Zimmerman because he infringed on Martin's right to life. That's an exact quote, right to life. Oh well, I don't agree with your assessment in this case. This is this guy named, let me get his name up so you know who the hell I'm talking about. His name is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh. Then he goes on, well, I don't agree with your assessment in this case, and I think you're repeating long debunked bits of propaganda. I think that you should actually look at the evidence presented, and you might come to a different conclusion. But I don't want to have that argument here. In fact, I'm going to take you at your word. You're saddened by the death of a black kid, that's all, and I believe you. And it's because I believe that you think you will be very interested in what I have to tell you. Thousands of black children die every day. They die in our streets, growing up fatherless homes, surrounded by culture that promotes gangsterism as a substitute for true manliness. Only instead of dying at the hands of a Hispanic neighborhood watchman, they die in the gutter, gunned down in cold blood by other black kids. They die and nobody demands justice. Nobody takes to the streets. Nobody protests. Nobody even blinks. Certainly nobody asks that we have a discussion about why these boys are dying and what steps should be taken within their community and the bloodshed. They die. They die by the thousands. They die, and the millionaires in the rap industry who actively encourage a poisonous and deadly lifestyle that leads to their deaths and profit off of it have the audacity to act saddened when one solitary black teenager passes away somewhere down in Florida. Thousands of black kids die for nothing, and the NAACP falls silent. Al Sharpton is nowhere to be found. No hashtags on Twitter or discussions on cable news. They just die, and that's the end of it. Do you know about this? Do you realize this was happening? And then he says, I assume you didn't. He's a little sarcastic, but he's bringing up a very good point. But this isn't the whole story. Being a black child in this country is a dangerous proposition. That has nothing to do with neighborhood watchmen. Do you know that 16 million black babies have been slaughtered in this country in the past 4 decades? 16 million. Did you realize this was happening? I assume you didn't. If you did, I expect you to be shouting about it on a rooftop, giving your great righteous concern for the fate of black children. Yes, abortion has claimed 16 million black lives in the last 40 years. 16 million black babies have ended up in dumpsters and hazardous waste containers. Black people are only 13% of the population, but they account for almost 40% of all abortions. Abortion doctors kill more black people in a week than the KKK has in the past century. I think that's a little out there, but I like to know where you got those facts. If not for abortion, the black population would be 36% larger than it is currently. Again, I like to see where he gets his statistics, but it's a point that, we have to look at. I'm called a racist because I agree with Zimmerman's verdict, yet I'm the one who wishes that in every fiber of my being that abortion wasn't legal and therefore millions more black people could populate our nation. The NAACP has suddenly discovered the right to life, which I guess means they'll soon be picketing Planned Parenthood clinics, and then and so on. He talks about abortion, and he talks about it being a high rate in the black community. What do you think about that, Derek?
Well, it is a high rate. I mean, ironically, it is. In fact, according to once it was 17 million, but I could be, I could be wrong. But I mean,
good morning, Mo.
Give or take a million. Then yeah,
What do you think about what he's saying, though? I mean,
obviously he's saying that black life is cheap, which unfortunately in America and other places around the world it is. Because
right, but he's saying it within their own community. I mean, he's talking statistically about black women who are pregnant going in and having abortions.
Well,
And
yeah, because the Planned
almost like
Parenthood.
a black on black crime, he's saying.
Well, from a certain point of view, it is because I mean the majority of the Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are in parts of the black neighborhood. You don't see them in rich white
Yeah,
areas.
rich white area. Yeah.
Or you definitely don't see them in Latino areas a lot, or Asians for that matter. It just happens to be in the yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It just happened to be in black neighborhoods, which is kind of
I was inspired.
yes. I mean, it just I'm just saying it just really it is on point. But
Okay.
but the thing is,
It's
it's
interesting.
just
I felt the same way,
it's almost like they're just trying to find ways to I guess I mean I don't mean to sound like a conspiracist theory nut guy, but there's a lot of things that they're trying to do for trying to get rid of black people. I mean, if not for crooked cops and crooked vigilantes, disguised as neighborhood watchmen, you have you have abortion clinics, you have liquor stores, you have crack houses, you have gangs,
We
you
got
have
right
guns.
down 4 houses away. We got a crack house.
yeah.
See,
I got
my
a
point
question,
exactly.
I don't know if you've been reading the news that, and I did. I googled it because everything I see on Facebook, I always research this crap before I repost it. So, but the Department of Justice or whatever
Yeah.
was setting up Justice for Trayvon marches. Okay, what does that show you there? That's not being unbiased.
Unbiased, as
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's after the fact. They're like, why you want to do something after the fact? You should do it before the fact, before the person dies. I mean, shoot, George Zimmerman even has gained $400,000 for his defense.
Hey, how you dick hanging?
Yeah, I mean, George Zimmerman received $400,000 for his defense fund over the last 17 months. So
Wow.
not only was acquitted, he actually made a profit. So
well, look.
There's gonna be a movie coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Aladdin movie.
Yeah.
The Zimmerman movie.
Yeah. See it on
we got plenty of
Lifetime.
movies gonna be
All,
coming
all
out.
I can say is, look, this whole debacle, whatever, from whatever side you're on this, whether you're on the Zimmerman side or on the Trayvon side, I think the middle is where we ought to be at. I think we ought to take a look at the laws that would allow this guy to be set free. Really, and that's a gun law issue. That I once again keep pleading with people, take a look at the gun laws, because some of them are so ridiculous that it would allow you to do this kind of thing. That you could almost walk around it and plead that you felt for your life. And again, the way the law was interpreted in Florida, you don't even have to have any kind of physical appearance of being beaten or anything. As long as you fear for your life and in your mind you're afraid, you're allowed to use that gun in self-defense, even though not one finger was laid on you. And that's a problem. But on the other end, I think it's important for us to recognize that there is a problem within the black community, and in all communities, if you think about it, but it's obviously more in our face when it comes to the black community. You have a lot of young black men incarcerated. You have a lot of gang-style activity going on. You have a lot of the music and the culture. And I think it's kind of like a Bill Cosby moment. Turn it around and throw it in your face and
Give
say,
me some
hey,
Jell-O.
look, you guys are
Jello's not
screaming
gonna
all
help with
bloody
this.
murder about
Jell-O
this,
won't hit you
which
much.
I am too.
Have you ever tried to nail Jell-O to a pole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that
Okay.
successful.
I'm trying to make a point here. When the point is, really, we ought to be taking a look at all sides. Mozu says, there is such a divide between blacks and whites. I can understand we haven't learned more and better. We are created by God, should rule over hate. It's time to give, not take over our hand. I know the world will never get it, but I do. Okay. I agree, Netzog, it was murder. You know what? I mean, I think that's the thing that the lawyer said that made a lot about the only sense to me was that Trayvon Martin's blood will always be on this guy's hand, no matter what. No matter what the law says, no matter what. He pulled the trigger and killed that kid. Everybody knows that. The fact that he got away with it, and his brother's going around bullshitting all over TV. There's a lot of talking heads saying he ought to just shut up and go away. Mm-hmm. And I agree, because all he's going to do is incite more hate. You know, his dismissive, outlook on his brother and all that shit. Look, your brother got away with it. Go away already. Mm-hmm. Just get the hell out of our faces. Go away. Go live your life. Go have a good time. Go target practice. Do whatever. Just stay away. Right?
Right.
Now, going back to the black issue, I think this is a great opportunity for the black community to really kind of wake up. I mean, we have it here all over Facebook, especially in this town. We have it where a lot of the people are always saying, our generation needs to come out of this and that and all that. Mm-hmm. And then, they don't do shit about it. I mean, you have some guys in our city, like Paul Bronson, who's trying to make a difference. You have some guys in there in the trenches with these young kids. I think we ought to just keep that up and move forward, Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for us to dwell on this all the time, believe me, it's not going to change until we decide as a nation to start to put some of these gun laws in check.
Yes.
And start to deal with our young black youth population. We have to start dealing with it. We have a major problem within that community. Mm-hmm. These young kids
I mean,
out there buck wild.
After this, I've been part of a mentoring program for my local church to actually do something, because I do not want this to, heaven forbid if this happened not just to me but my two nephews, and I'm really concerned about them, whether they're going to be other George Zimmermans or other crazy loonies or somewhere who feel like they need to flex their Smith and Wesson muscles or something, aka their trigger fingers.
You know how much.
If it's not them, it's either going to be some road cop or some gangbanger because they're too uppity. Well, what's the matter? Why you got your pants up? Well, it's called belts. It's supposed to design to keep your pants up. All of a sudden, they're going to be sitting. I'm worried about them because they're not thuggish enough, to meet the ghetto standards.
Too much. Guys, tell me if I'm right. Something is bothering me. When Zimmerman heard the verdict and sat down, his counsel put an object down on the table beside him. It looked like his pistol, wasn't it? It probably was, because they allowed him to take his pistol back.
Yeah, but which a lot of people didn't talk about.
Well, you're probably gonna need it walking out of that courthouse.
Possibly. Well, yeah. Well, he's gonna need some Kevlar too.
He's gonna need it for a long time.
I wouldn't doubt he was wearing a vest that night.
He needs to go away like Paula Deen and disappear.
He's gonna have to live in a cave for the rest of his life, or under witness protections, because even though he's acquitted, I definitely don't think he's gonna be considered innocent. He's just gonna be persona non grata for the rest of his life. He just might as well just go out and just live in a cave for the rest of his life, like Osama bin Laden or something. Point blank. But similar to the fact that I really which there was a video that I wanted to show. I have it on my Facebook page. It was way too graphic. Basically, just some post-mortem pictures of Trayvon Martin when he was just after he was shortly dead.
The picture of him laying there.
Did you have a picture?
I got a picture.
Yeah. You got a picture?
I'll put it up, I got two pictures.
I don't know.
How bad is it?
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it is kind of creepy.
Here's the picture, the last picture of him at the convenience store checking out. And this is
which he did legally.
The last picture.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah,
and
I never saw that.
They accidentally let that show that. I was able to snip it out, but
very sad.
It's sad. It happened, but people got to get over it and avoid this shit from happening. That's all.
Well, first of all,
people need to start using their goddamn brains, man.
Are you kidding? But that's a tall order, man, for most people. I mean, not just American people, just people in general around the world. Because I mean, how do we know that these people not gonna stop some? And what if it stops? What if it's not just if there's no black people? Then what are they gonna do? They're gonna start checking out the next miscreant or the next minority person line. What do they start getting Latinos and stuff? Start profiling Latinos because there's not enough black people.
They're doing that now.
When there's not enough
it's
black
just we
people.
don't hear about
or
it.
nor Asians or something
That
like
was
that.
the point that I think the young man was making in his blog, is that
Yes.
we have so much shit going on in this country that nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a lot of stuff. I mean, one of the biggest problems that we now face, of course, is human trafficking. I mean, we got a lot of people that are being put in these positions of like almost slavery, and it's happening right here in America.
Well, guess what?
Nobody's bitching and moaning about that, and that's the problem.
Well,
we
we
bitch
were
and moan about the things we want to.
While we were watching Paula Dean and George Zimmerman, Barack Obama's been passing bills under our nose. Okay? So do some research. While he kept us distracted with all this shit, he's been taking care of business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
do a little Googling, do a little research, and see where this media is leading your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they want you to watch the media. They don't want you to see what else is going on. Where's Benghazi? Where's the accountability there?
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, I'm done.
Actually, there was an actor, Lance Gross, who playing the son in the TV show Tyler Perry's House of Pain that played on TBS for the past 5-6 seasons. He wrote an open letter to George Zimmerman, which was I guess sometime yesterday.
some memorial letter.
Yeah, memorial letter. I guess.
Why don't you read that? And I want to read the president's statement that he
Yes.
gave to the nation.
He says, Dear George Zimmerman, for the rest of your life, you are now going to feel like what it's like to be a black man in America. You will feel people stare at you, judging you for what you think are unfair reasons. You will lose out on getting jobs for something you feel is outside of your control. You will believe yourself to be an upstanding citizen and wonder why people choose not to see that. People will cross the street when they see you coming. They will call you hurtful names. It will drive you insane some days that you want to scream at the top of your lungs. But you will have to wake up the next day, put on a firm look, and push through life. I bet you never thought that by shooting a black male, you end up inheriting all of his struggles. Enjoy your freedom. Sincerely, a black male who could have been Trayvon Martin.
Yeah. Well.
Yes.
Anyway, the Justice Department said Sunday that it will review the George Zimmerman case for possible civil rights violation after the jury acquitted the Florida Watchman, neighborhood watch volunteer in the fatal shooting of the 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. As Zimmerman's attorneys cautioned that his client's safety is at risk, the Justice Department responded to appeals from the NAACP President Benjamin Todd Jellis and several lawmakers to keep investigating the defendant. The department may find itself in a vulnerable spot. Last week, a conservative watchdog accused an obscure agency within the DOJ of helping to support the pressure campaign against Zimmerman in the wake of the shooting last year. Judicial Watch claimed documents and public accounts showed extraordinary intervention by the department in a campaign that eventually led to Zimmerman's prosecution. The department, however, claims that a dispatch agency represented to reduce tensions in the community, not to take side. Obama himself caused a stir last year by remarking the days after the shooting that if he had a son, he looked like Trayvon. On Sunday, however, Obama urged calm and declared the jury has spoken. There you have it. We're going to leave it there. I think that one of the things that we ought to look at, like I said, is two things. I think we have to look at the gun laws of this country and how lax they are. People walking around, literally with miniature cannons, ready to shoot each other. I call them cannons,
Oh, you're talking about magnums?
Yeah, like anything. Any
44
gun
magnums?
is like a miniature cannon. It shoots out a propellant. what you're aiming at is a real problem all the time. It seems to be. A lot of people are dying for no good reason. I think a lot of it has to do with the lax gun laws. Only people with some responsibility ought to be having guns. That's my take on it. So I don't know. Let's take the time out and say good morning to these folks. We got a whole bunch of people on here.
A whole lot of folks want to say good morning to DS Photo Guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Earl Big Skillet, Darlene from Florida.
Yeah.
Gregerson, Harry Cooter, how you dig hanging? Manny, Michelle Stacy, Miss Mao Zeus Jones, the Cal 3000, Rocco, Too Much Hydroponic Kettle Corn, Ned Stark, and Tex Lady.
Yeah, there we go. Darlene from Florida, what do you think of this George Zimmerman trial? Are you for it? Against him? My brother's on, Edward Mamp, I'm sure he's for it. Darlene, what do you think? Anything? Any opinion? Edwin Mampa, what do you think of this Trayvon Martin? The jury has spoken. The Wild West never ended. Yeah. I have a mixed emotion. Okay, that's all right. I think the emotions are crazy. Yeah, I think so too. They should have given him the deck chair. Tex Lady. Ooh. Yeah, people from Texas, they love that chair, don't they?
Just
Go into the living rooms, they have chairs.
Anyway. Manny says someone got to those 6 women jurors, maybe a phone call about their kids or an envelope full of money under the door.
Yeah.
I never thought, but I did not predict that. Say they could go either way, 50-50. They may go side for the Martin case because 5 out of the 6 jurors were mothers, or it could go on the other side because, well, hey, even though he's a jackass protecting, the neighborhood, even though it's self-appointed. But still.
Well, I would agree, Edward. It was, they went to the letter of the law, obviously. What they did, and I think the biggest mistake that the prosecutors did, is that they overcharged him. If they would have stuck with manslaughter and stuck with that and went with that and explained that better and done their due diligence, I think they could have won a conviction. But I think they overcharged. And one of the biggest mistakes was towards the end of the trial when the lawyer for Trayvon actually kind of justified what the defense was saying in taking that stupid ass dummy that they brought and then now putting Trayvon on top as though, they made that kind of, all the time they were saying, well, some people said it was Zimmerman on top and blah, blah, blah. And what they did there was kind of say, okay, Trayvon's on top, and they solidified that in the minds of the women on that jury, and I think that's one of the reasons why they may have lost.
Yes. I had some aftermath of some of it. Michael B. Moore was said something on the Facebook. It says this defense attorney better STF you. He says really Zimmerman would never been tried if he was black. It's like, really? And a lot of people say, yeah, he's right. Well, of course, he would not have been tried because if the police would have killed him first, and 2, had Trayvon Martin been white and Zimmerman been black, not only he would have went to jail, the police would have arrested him and probably shot him for resisting arrest while taking him to jail. Because if you kill, obviously, unlike most ethnic groups, when a black person does commit a crime, they go directly to jail. Do not collect $200. There's no media attention, no trial, because they know they did it. They caught him, they catch him red-handed most of the time.
Well, and it goes back to what I'm saying, and I've been saying. What we really ought to be looking at is 2 things. We ought to be looking at the gun laws.
Yes.
That may be lax, but also the black community has to really start to look at itself and start to say, why are we being profiled in this way? Why is this happening? And it's obvious.
And why does the law use deadly force?
why they use deadly force.
Well, that would be part of the first part.
Compared to other ethnic groups. I mean, like the guy who shot up the Aurora, Colorado movie theater. He was armed to the teeth with guns. But yeah, no one didn't. No, police didn't feel like they had to shoot him.
They didn't belong to him. They belonged to his mother. The thing, you have to look at this case the way it is. One of the problems that we have, and yes, of course, the death of a young man is a horrible tragedy. But you also have to look at the culture that we live in and the perception that a lot of Americans have, a lot of people have, even within the black community itself. I mean, you're one of them that speak out against the gangbangers and the lowriders and, with their asses sticking out and everybody looks, you can't have it both ways, folks. You can't look gangster, you can't look tough, you can't look like you just walked out of prison. And then when they shoot your ass, you're like, oh, I'm an innocent guy, I'm a nice guy, look, look, your perception is reality. And I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form that what happened to Trayvon, he got it because, he deserved it or anything to that effect.
Yeah, because no one deserves it.
Because nobody deserves it. And I think that Zimmerman may have overprofiled this kid.
Yes.
However, there is still a reality that we are facing when it comes to the young black male community. I talk about it every day on Facebook with this community. This community is very, very much speaking on this issue every single day. And when I inject in, I always remind them, look, this is something that I believe has to do with the culture itself, the culture of hip-hop, the culture of gangster rap, the culture of, all these multi-millionaire Illuminatis, like I call them, all devils, all singing their hearts content. And you see these young kids, dancing to the music and all that shit. I mean, come on, we're going to have to really start to talk about these things. And I think that's why Bill Cosby got such a big slack about it.
But say about the hip-hop community, the thing is, the majority of the people who buy the records are white. How come there not any white kids are being shot?
Well, here's the thing. Look at what they're looking at. I mean, you're starting to get a lot of white guys to start to act gangster, too. If you take a look at, even on television, there's something called Love Hip-Hop or some bullshit show that's out there. And all you see is, relationships that are like a boyfriend and girlfriend banging each other and then they screaming at each other and cursing at each other and all that shit. You got the Housewives of Atlanta. Everybody's going off on. It's just getting out of control, folks. And yes, you have the Housewives.
I agree with you on that, Manny.
You have the Housewives where they're the white housewives that beat the shit out of each other too and all that. But what I'm talking about specifically is the problem that we have within the young black male community is that there's too much gangster rap bullshit with lyrics that are so inflammatory and anti-women and
And R&B is anti-male, but that's a whole other story right there.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I'm gonna bust the windows at your car.
Yeah.
Better fall in love with me.
It really, I think, and I pray to God, and I pray to God that finally, maybe this will wake them up more than just saying, oh, poor Trayvon. I hope that Trayvon's death doesn't go in vain. So it's going to go in vain, and people kind of pigeonhole this shit and start to say, well, Trayvon shouldn't have died. Well, of course he shouldn't have died. Of course he was profiled. Of course that this guy got away with it. However, it is a bigger issue about perception and how most people, if you see in America, are justifying Zimmerman because of the way the culture within the young black community is.
But even still, that's still overgeneralizing. But simply for the fact that one, more white people buy rap records than black kids anyway. So just to profile him because he wears a hoodie come on, you gotta. And for him to say like he was a creepy creepy guy. Man, let's face the facts. When he got shot February, what would you expect? I mean, a month before that incident happened, you had Jerry Sandusky indicted in jail for molesting teenage boys over at Penn State, which Joe Paterno died around about that same time, and then a good majority of those teen boys were black boys. So what do you expect?
But Jerry Sandusky got what he deserved, and in the end, Paterno died for whatever reason. Maybe
he died because he got
he
fired and
should've.
stuff because he had all that burden on his heart.
But that's kind of arguing apples and oranges. I'm saying, and by the way, those black kids that were in Penn State, they were obviously coming from good parents that couldn't afford the college. Those kids couldn't have been in there otherwise. But I'm talking about your average young black male, and there is a major problem in that community. The jails are filled with young black kids. You go to the LEC. I mean, at least 90% of them, if not more, are young black males. Some of them are older men. And the other thing is, they can't even read. Some of the older men in that jailhouse can't even read. There is a problem with education. There is a problem with stimulating them to want to get an education. There is a problem with the gangster music and the rap music that's going on. There's a problem with the acceptance of society and wanting to kind of like encourage them, right? So here's a young man, and they go, oh yes, son, yes, you can play your music. You have your own freedom.
No, it's not.
You have to
more
learn.
than just that. More than just that. The thing is, people just have a lackadaisical attitude when it comes to black music, because I mean, unless you can sing, rap, or have one heck of a free throw, people just don't give a damn about your point of view. Obviously because of the result of the verdict. Because the question lies: did Trayvon Martin had the right to stand his ground as much as George Zimmerman?
Yeah,
that's the real question about this. Not only that, we need to talk about the police of Sanford, Florida. Anyway, now Sanford, Florida is not exactly the most, race-friendly city.
Listen, all of Florida is like that.
Okay.
That's why they always get caught up.
Let
in
me
politics.
finish, Irv. I got this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Now, Sanford, Florida already doesn't have a good history with race relations anyway, because that was the same. Well, no. Aside from this, so what was the place? Jackie Robinson in '42 from the movie. That was the place where he went to practice baseball when he signed up for the Dodgers. Now, when the people, some of the white citizens over in Sanford, Florida, heard about this, he basically had to tell Jackie and his friends who he was staying with, they had to leave out of town, because if they didn't, they were going to call the KKK and they were going to start some business. They're going to start some trouble. Plain and simple. Because they didn't want, and he couldn't, and it wasn't like he can go to the hotels, because guess what? Florida was a southern state. They had Jim Crow, so he can bunk with his teammates. He had to bunk, basically, he and his wife had to bunk with people, in the black community of Sanford, Florida, because he wasn't allowed to bunk with his teammates back then. This was 1947. Okay? And what do you expect? I mean, old habits never die. Old habits are hard to die.
Look, there's racism everywhere. I'm sorry. Florida's
just
but one
because
state.
Because of the South, they try to make it a culture, a celebration of it.
It just has to have Paula Deen, but look.
Yeah, but Paula Deen didn't kill anybody. Well, not directly.
Not directly. But again,
and she didn't go to jail.
It goes back to what people perceive as right and wrong. Some people see that, in fact, with all of the black culture, the way the young kids are, that they kind of, listen to all this music. And again, I'm not justifying what Zimmerman did. I'm just looking at the clear facts of the problem that we have. And until we acknowledge that problem and look at that problem, it's going to be a problem forever. Because you're going to have two sides arguing basically two different points. What they're saying is that you have a lot of young black males running around, and at times they seem threatening. Whether we should accept that or not is another issue. But the way they go around with the swagger and their look and then the music they listen to and all that, it's making people perceive the wrong thing.
So you should shoot him on sight?
That's not what happened here. There was a fight that broke out. They didn't just go up to him and shoot him. I mean, it's well documented they had a fight. The problem was that Zimmerman obviously profiled him, obviously, and Zimmerman maybe instigated the fight, But look at what happened. In the end, maybe that culture that people are thinking and stuck in their mind, in those 6 women, that, well, yeah, you know, and they got a lot of trouble in the black community, and a lot of these hip-hop gangbanger kids, you know, they do kind of, you know, are perceived as a threat. And Trayvon was a tall kid, and Trayvon did break his nose, and they started adding all this shit up, and they justified what Zimmerman did, which I disagree with. I think that Zimmerman instigated this fight. I'm with you on this.
Yes, I did.
But that's not the point. The point is that obviously Zimmerman won over perception.
Yeah, but
And
even if Trayvon was butt freaking naked, he still had no reason to confront the guy, point blank. Because you could wear a hoodie, you could wear a tuxedo, you could wear a 3-piece suit. The thing is,
he didn't have a right to stalk him, but he did have a right to approach the guy. He didn't have a right to stalk him. But he did have a right to say, hey, what are you doing here?
So what? But the thing is, what happens now? Well, does that mean that black children, especially black boys and black teens, have to be escorted to and from some place just to keep from being accosted and harmed from crazy lunatics, gunzillas?
You're still missing the point.
Just like women have to be escorted because of crazy.
You're still missing the point that that place has had numerous break-ins. That's why he was doing that. They were getting broken in by kids. And they were confirmed by black kids breaking into houses. Yeah. So to him, he looked guilty because he was black, because it was black kids doing it. That never came out in a trial or anything like that. That's why he wasn't, self-appointed Andy Griffith.
Wow. Well, again,
but never still. What about those? What about those who are not neighborhood watch, Ed? That's what I'm talking about. What about those kids? What if those kids, even if they're not wearing hoodies, what if they're just walking and people just try to accost them just because they just don't want them around? Because I'm just saying, this is what happened to me. Those who haven't seen my thought upon the video, it struck a nerve to me, and I'm trying to keep a level head at this. But this bullshit.
I got to respond to Earl. Okay. Earl, the 911 operator telling him not to do anything, that threw out the window because it was not against the law. They already confirmed that.
Well, again, that's a big if, because even though it's not against the law, it is part of the training that they receive that they are not to approach. They are neighborhood watch. They are not neighborhood follow and pursue and
neighborhood blow up SOB away.
So there's a big, I understand what you're saying. It's not against the law for him to go up to him and ask him, what are you doing here? But it was the way that he did it, and sneaking up and following him and stalking him, that scared the hell out of Trayvon. And one thing led to another. Whether, the question of whether he had the right to shoot him, was based on the fact of whether, in Zimmerman's mind, he felt that his life was threatened. To me, I really feel that that Zimmerman got his ass kicked by Trayvon, and that he was humiliated, and that he shot the kid and killed him. To be honest, that's how I feel. I feel that it wasn't that he was fearing for his life.
None of us
I know that.
So we don't know.
But the bottom line is
we don't know.
We're just making assumptions.
I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
Right.
Listen, I know human nature. I know how it works. Believe me. I think that sounds more like it. The guy was just pissed off, humiliated that he got his ass beat up, and he shot the kid and killed him. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's my opinion, based on how I know people think. I don't think that people all of a sudden get so scared that, oh, my life is going to die. First of all, he didn't have that many cuts on his head. He did, but it wasn't like his head was bashed open. It was like a few little cuts here and there, and a broken nose.
Yeah, and I'm also agreed that the prosecution they definitely screwed it up big time. They definitely dropped the ball several times. First of all, simple like what I'm saying about the thing with the Sanford, Florida. They don't have a really good race relations history, from going all the way back to Jackie Robinson, and even a case of a black couple that was killed in 1951 by some KKK mob back in 1951. But that's a whole other story. The thing is, Sanford dropped the ball big time, even before long before the state attorney, who Corey, who was fired as information technology director because of the concerns of the Martin case. Even though that's a whole other story. But the thing is, they dropped the ball simply for the fact that one, San Francisco police definitely dropped the ball because even after the man Zimmerman shot Martin, they didn't even take the gun away. They didn't try it for evidence. They didn't try to check for blood or anything, regardless of the person, even if he did quote unquote self defend himself. The bottom line is they dropped the ball for us forensics. They didn't take the gun, anything. Plus, they get the toxicology of a dead boy, Trayvon Martin, but not the toxicology of a live shooter. Now, what's wrong with this picture here? You can get the DNA. You can take he had weed. What about what Zimmerman was on? We will never know because, he's all out of his system about a year and a half ago.
If you looked at the prosecutor, that Angela Corey, with a freaking press conference, smiling, I swear to you, she reminded me of that woman that my mother used to go see in the welfare office who always dropped the freaking ball. Mm-hmm. Like her case was delayed or something. That woman looked like a stupid-ass, incompetent woman from the moment I saw her. The moment I said, oh shit, no wonder they lost. I could just tell by that woman, Angela Corey, coming on television with a big smile and all this other shit. I said, no wonder we lost. No wonder they lost. That woman was incompetent. I believe. They could have had Zimmerman had she done her due diligence. And she was obviously one of those paper pushers, like that woman in the shelter who makes himself look all important, but they are full of crap. They have no real understanding of how the system works. Just get a few lawyers on it and let them come up with something and let's nail this guy. It didn't work. It did not work. She obviously did not look at the law very well. She just bombarded them with, here's a case, go after it. She got two good attorneys on it. But again, I think the attorney screwed up. This attorney guy, when he grabbed that dummy in the closing arguments, and once again, kind of re-emphasized that Martin was on top, Zimmerman on the bottom, and he kind of justified that when that should have never been brought up again. Let the defense bring that up. The fact that they brought it up and kind of made it like, that's what happened. It's solidified in the minds of the jury, and they were all over the place. If you take a look at this case, they were trying to throw in child abuse. They were throwing in the kitchen sink at Zimmerman. So that kind of shit, although it may be justified and may be reason to indict him, it made it look like they were just grasping at straws and forget about it. It threw more doubt in than it helped. Yeah. That's what happened. It's kind of a an abortion of justice.
Yeah, Earl Big Skill was saying like O.J. Simpson, Zimmerman got off with the first trial, but the civil trial is going to be a wing dang doodle. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: he's not innocent.
He's acquitted, but he's definitely not.
But he's not innocent. He killed a kid. So, and that was explained yesterday. If you guys would have been watching some of the lawyers that were talking and yapping away, it doesn't mean that he's innocent. It just means that basically he was protected by the law. He still killed a kid.
Yeah.
The blood of Trayvon Martin will always be on his hands, no matter what.
Like Lady Macbeth. Out damn spot! Yes. Speaking of...
Good morning, Donnie Curry.
Keith Olbermann, I think this is from Michael Michael B. Moore shared on Keith Olbermann's fan page, says, if George Zimmerman had been arrested the night Trayvon Martin was killed and charged with manslaughter, he would not have had an online website collecting money for his defense. He would not have had rich, famous lawyers defending him. He would not have had world-renowned pathology doctors or other pricey forensic experts. No animated recreation of his one-sided account of the storyline. No bells and whistles. He would have been just like any other schmuck who kills someone with a gun. Kills someone with a gun, gets arrested, and goes to trial. I wonder if he had been arrested immediately, if the verdict would have been different. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, just like I said, they're going to have that wrongful death lawsuit. But I still want to say, regardless of the thing is, but because of the verdict of this, do you think that now because that those black males who don't dress, who don't sag, who don't wear hoodies on rainy days because, well, gee, why put on why carry a freaking umbrella? Because an umbrella will be mistaken for a weapon, in the hands of some minority person. The thing is, do you think that black boys and particularly black teens going to have to be escorted to and from place outside of school because people might mistake them for criminals or something, or potential criminals, just like women have to be escorted in some places of the country or overseas, particularly in the Middle East, because people might try to accost them or harm them, with impunity? I'm just saying, because I have 2 nephews. They're 10 and 12, and people, and they may be mistaken for. They can potentially be mistaken for a target for any other people who think that, well, hey, they're too uppity. They're actually not sagging. Something must be wrong with them. I mean, they're not following the status quo of being,
I was
the stereotype.
watching this kid looking out the window. He was trying to run across the street the other day. And his fucking pants fell down and hit the ground. They almost tripped.
That's why you need
Here's the thing. It's the same issue that women bring up when they wear the scantily melted on top. Wait a minute, let me finish my freaking point. When women walk around with scantily clad, no brassiere, rear ends popping out, twerking down the street, and then they bitch and moan that they've been raped, or that they are whores, or things like that, it's the same perception. What is happening is that a lot of these young boys are running around with hoodie or whatever, pants low rider, looking gangster, and it gives off the wrong impression. Now, there are some people that would say, well, clothes doesn't make the man. Well, there are some that say clothes do make the man. And it's the same thing with women. Women walk around in scantily clothes, and, sometimes I look at them and I go, and this is the reason why you're going to have some nutcase looking at you, want to jump at you and do so. And the women will say, oh, no, that shouldn't be it. And, we should wear what we want to wear. How dare you say that? Just because a woman wears tight clothes doesn't mean that she's a whore. Well,
you're wearing a whore's uniforms. I'm just like Dave
exactly.
said.
And it's the same shit here. These young boys are going around irregardless. They look, they feel, they act kind of gangster, and it's kind of, a status in their community to look that way, act that way, curse and do this and do that, and then when they're accosted and shot, like what happened with Trayvon, everybody's upset. Well, this guy shot him and he profiled him and all that. Let's talk about the bigger issue. Let's talk about, I believe that what Zimmerman and Trayvon debacle has done for the country is it opened it up to this very subject that has been avoided time and time and time again. They hated on Bill Cosby when Bill Cosby was hitting on this shit 5 years ago.
Yeah, because he wasn't fitting the status quo. He did which I think is just a bunch of people that's been catching hell for so many long times. They just accept crappy ideas. They accept crappy a lifestyle, like people wearing sagging, even though we don't have to. But the thing is, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but if I were sagging, I still catch it now that I'm considered not black enough because I'm not sagging, or I don't have tattoos all over my face and body and stuff, because I'm a L7, basically a square. Yeah. Pretty much, and that's a loser. Well, just forget the 7, just the L part.
It's a song. You ever heard that?
Yeah, I know.
Buddy once told me the world is gonna roll me.
Yeah,
well, it's something that really
but that's the thing. The white boys sag too and wear hoodies too, but unfortunately, they're not stopped by the police or fake ass police. They're not shot 30, 20 times. Like Martin, and not just Trayvon Martin, but like Oscar Grant and Diallo, and I mean, it goes on. The thing I'm trying to figure out why this is long before gangs. Why in the world people have to use deadly force when they're confronting a black male? I mean, from Emmett Till to the Scottsboro Boys to Yusuf Hawkins, the list goes on. I mean, you could stop me at any time. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, Emmett Till, that's just a disgrace. I mean, there was a 14-year-old boy who was kidnapped and killed for allegedly whistling at a white woman back in 1955. Now, usually if you're a grown-ass man and you kidnap a child, you should be put under the freaking jailhouse. Oh, but no. Not in 1955 Mississippi. Oh, no. No, that's not going to happen.
By the way, text lady says my son has been stopped by Duncanville cops on his way home for no reason. It's happening every day, folks. I mean, we really have to start to confront these issues. And I think that for us to talk about it just one-sided is missing our point. There are two sides to every coin. There's right, there's wrong, and there's the truth. And the truth of the matter is that on both sides of the aisle, there is a problem. There's a problem with our gun laws being too lax, and there's a problem within the black community that really needs to be addressed as well. And if not, we're going to continue the same shit over and over again. And we're going to have, this country is literally being taken apart bit by bit. All right, it's time to take a break. Let's take a breather. We're going to come back with more stories. There's more happening in life than just Zimmerman,
yes.
It's all nonsense.
Yes.
Okay, this is a cool video. What y'all watch, very short. It's an impression that women give of how guys usually try to pick up chicks, but reverse role.
Okay. All right.
Enjoy the video.
This is an impression on women.
We'll be right
back. How
back.
to hit on guys the way guys hit on girls.
Hey, baby, I'd like to lick your butt crack sideways.
Another armed robbery at an adult novelty store in Bibb County. Bibb Sheriff's deputies say a man armed with a handgun walked into the Emory Highway business at 1 this morning, demanding money from the cash register. The suspect is described as a black man in his early 20s, about 5'9" in height, and weighs around 180 pounds. According to authorities, it's the first robbery of the year at the store. Late last year, it was robbed 4 times within several months and has been the target of almost a dozen robberies in the past 4 years.
Well, we're live here in Beaver Creek, where I tried to get reaction from people about tonight's not guilty verdict. Now, I asked about 30 people to do an interview with me. Several, surprisingly enough, told me that they had no idea who George Zimmerman or Trayvon Martin were. Now, many others said they'd like to tell me what they think, but it wouldn't be appropriate for television and they could get fired from their jobs. Now, I did find one man who was willing to speak with me on camera, and he tells me he's upset over the verdict.
To be honest with you, I'm outraged because when he called the police dispatcher to report a man in a hood running around the neighborhood, the police dispatcher told him, do not follow him, sir. He should follow that order and not follow him. His job is a watchman, not a law enforcement officer.
Many people also tell me that tonight they're not only sending their prayers to Martin's family, but also to Zimmerman and the jurors as well. Reporting live in Beaver Creek, Jackie Sprague, 2 News, working for you.
At this point, the public has already seen a picture of Trayvon Martin lying dead on the grass on the night of that shooting. And you can see that he's wearing very, very tight pants that are cuffed at the bottom, a tight hoodie, and he doesn't look like a thug. But that doesn't matter because Geraldo Rivera was on Fox and Friends, and he believes that had he or anyone else seen Trayvon Martin in that neighborhood, they might have reacted similarly. Let's take a look.
I see those 6 ladies putting themselves on that rainy night in that housing complex that has just been burglarized by 3 or 4 different groups of black youngsters from the adjacent community. So it's a dark night, a 6'2" hoodie-wearing stranger is in the immediate housing complex. How would the ladies of that jury have reacted? I submit that if they were armed, they would have shot and killed Trayvon Martin a lot sooner than George Zimmerman did. Wow. This is self-defense. Sure. When it doesn't matter that Zimmerman provoked it or that Zimmerman was out of line to be so aggressive and overzealous as a neighborhood watch captain.
Oh, Jesus, I can't. It's hard to... I mean, that's it. Like, what does it take? Like, enough tolerance. Don't go on his fucking show anymore.
I submit that Geraldo's an idiot. I mean, that is the worst kind of race-baiting. What a dim view he has of humanity. If he think really off the bat, he can tell you that these 6 women would shoot him.
They would have shot him immediately, though. They wouldn't have waited as long as George Zimmerman did. They would have shot him much quicker.
Patience. One thing you can say about George Zimmerman.
And we're back. It's 9:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You're watching the Morning Roast live from the Doghouse with Herb, Ed, and DB. It's 75 degrees outside of Macon, Georgia. It is sunny yet partly cloudy with a high of 85 and a low of 71. There will be some scattered thunderstorms and showers later on today. We had a couple of showers during the first hour of the show. We've been having a whole lot of other stuff going on.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit this morning about Honey Boo Boo. She's doing a book tour here in Macon. Her mother was here. I'm wondering if Charles Sandifer is involved in this. Because Charles is the one connection that we have. Charles Sandifer, by the way, was a guest on our show. Yes. I did a lot of work with him for about 2 years in helping him promote Macon and the promotions for Macon. That's how when I first got here, I got involved in. And Middle Georgia's famous 7-year-old is making her way to your TV with a new season. But here comes Honey Boo Boo. The reason why I bring this up is because once again, Honey Boo Boo is being hit by critics as showing like the wrong side of Middle Georgia.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I mean, we have people like this here. I mean, that's the way Middle Georgia is. You got all different types. Yes, you have the Honey Boo Boos here. And Elena, known as Honey Boo Boo, and a crazy wild family up in the antics this summer with butter roll dancing, tap dancing lessons, and wrestling events. Filming isn't over yet, but you can expect to see some scenes in Macon and Warner Robin. Mama June stopped by Macon Marriott Hotel, which I worked out of during the Macon Film Festival.
Yeah.
On Saturday to promote the second season as well as a new book on how you can find the Honey Boo Boo in you. The book is about our lives, unseen pictures that you haven't seen in the media or anywhere. Mama June, Shannon said. It's just fun time with just us and a pumpkin. It's surprise, and we got 10 pages dedicated just to her. And the ending is just a nice surprise for everybody. Another big surprise happens during the season final. Do Mama June and Sugar Bear finally tie the knot? You'll have to wait and see. You know, I haven't watched that show now, even one freaking episode yet.
And
I'm
you
surprised.
have now.
Yeah. But I know that Terrell met Honey Boo Boo and Mark Ballard, who's a big voice in this community, lambasted him for it, saying, you know, how dare you degrade Middle Georgia. But meanwhile, you know, he also had a run-in with Paula Deen. He knows Paula Deen very well. And he said that when Paul and him were getting together, she promised him all the shit and then backed out of it. She said she's not only, you know, spewing out racist comments, but also she's a two-faced Indian giver. So who the hell knows? Anyway.
Wow.
That's kind of what's going on around here a little bit. We have any other news, Derek?
Yes. That's a really crazy one right here. It's a wing dang doodle. Basically, 3 women beat up a man at a bar for refusing to buy them a drink.
Wow.
So
talk about aggressive.
Yeah. A police investigation into the beating of a man outside of a Hudson Valley bar revealed that the victim was assaulted by 3 women for refusing to buy them a drink. The incident took place near Emily's Bar and Grill in Newburgh. The Times Herald Record reports that one of the aggressors called the police, and 3 women initially claims that the man had assaulted them. But the investigation concluded that it was Elizabeth Condor, age 19, Yamara Brito Santiago, 24 years of age, and Mariela de la Cruz, 25, who instigated the fight by punching a man in the face after he turned down a request to pick up their tab. The man was then chased out of the bar when the beating continued. As the women began hitting them with their shoes, the bar bouncer, 45-year-old Donald Atkinson, reportedly joined the brawl, taking the women's side. All 4 suspects were arrested and charged with felony gang assault. The victim was transported to a nearby hospital where he was treated for serious facial injuries, including a bleeding in his right eye.
My brother said he must have died happy. My mother used to say, "Ay bendito." He was probably hitting on them all night. They expected something in return for all that harassment. You know, guys go in bars and they can be so aggressive on women. You know.
Yeah.
So they got their, you know, they ganged up on him like Charlie's Angels and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, but
After
the thing is, but even if you turn me down, I don't owe you a freaking drink.
Yeah.
Hell no. Welcome to equality. Hey, you got equality. You got for it. Hey, you want to go out? You want to pay for my drink? Shoot, no. You gonna?
Well, just don't go to that bar.
Yeah, if you don't want me to date you, then you don't expect me to pay your bar tab. I'm just saying.
Let me see. Cocknell says female hypogeny. Yeah, is when men fight for women. It's caused that by that whole never shit women bullshit. Those women should have been kicked in the teeth. Yeah, you know, what are you gonna do? Yes. Who was one? Consuela? What the hell was her name?
What was her name? It was goodness, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, some hot Spanish chick. I guess.
Mariela. Cruz. Yes.
Mariela hit that maricon. Right in the wallet. Well, actually, they didn't hit him in the wallet. Anyway.
They hit him in there with a freaking stiletto heel and stuff.
Well.
Yeah, even if he doesn't deserve to get his eyes gouged out by Hill because, you know.
They really beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, take your butt to the store and get some, get a 6-pack and call it a day, call it a night.
Well, I want to bring up, speaking of Georgia inmate, Jackson, Georgia, a prisoner was twice come within hours of death on Georgia's death row, is once again facing execution. Warren Lee Hill, who was sentenced to death in 1990 beating of a fellow inmate, Joseph Handspike, is scheduled to be executed in state prison in Jackson at 7 p.m. Monday. I guess that's today. Hill has come within hours of death twice in the past year before scheduled executions were halted in the last-minute court orders. Hill's lawyers have long argued that Hill was mentally disabled and therefore should not be put to death because the execution of mentally disabled offenders is prohibited by the state law and a 2002 U.S. Supreme Court decision. Obviously, they didn't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once again, it was just like what happened with Zimmerman. They didn't prove that he, did it with malice intent, although many of us could differ on that opinion, but it's what they didn't prove. You know, for once, I guess, I see kind of the repercussions of innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But, everybody else, of course, is guilty until you prove innocent.
Yes.
That's what I feel. It's always in reverse for some people. Like here in Georgia, you have to plead guilty even though you're not. If not, you're going to sit your ass in jail while these scumbag lawyers sit on their hands and do nothing. Because they get $25 a day for as long as they have it on their docket. And they don't do nothing. All they have to do is sign one document a day. And they get $25. And they sit on their hands all frickin' day. And forget about, court-appointed attorney. Those guys are the worst corrupted scumbags that are out there. I haven't seen a good one yet. I have not. Sorry to say, folks. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. But I haven't seen a good one yet. Public defenders are a waste of time and a waste of money for the state. Or the city.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else?
Yes, also had some local stories. 2nd Street work contracts move forward. It says the Macon City Council Committee unanimously endorsed 2 contracts totaling $1.4 million for design and construction contracts for 2 features of Mayor Robert Ricker's plan to redevelop 2nd Street. The Public Properties Committee approved for a $576,000 design contract to the Atlanta office of T.Y. Lin International and an $854,000 contract for local firm Chris R. Sheridan and Company to serve as construction manager, according to the city resolutions. Both companies will be paid from the proceeds of the special purpose local option sales tax that voters approved in November 2011. The SPLOST included $8 million for the first phase of turning 2nd Street into a landscape, pedestrian, and bicycle friendly corridor, including a 3,400 foot curving connector between the existing downtown stretch of 2nd Street and the Little Richard Penman Boulevard, and rebuilding of the 600-foot portion between Cherry and Poplar Streets as a vision block that would cut the current 4 traffic lanes down to 2, landscape the sidewalks, and put in a bicycle lane.
There you go. We're getting a facelift.
Yes, so to speak.
Long overdue. By the way, somebody sent this this link, and I think I'll read it because it's very interesting that an accident happened because of this. In Weehawken, New Jersey, transit agency has removed a bus driver for committing a lewd act on the job. A commuter videotaped a 41-year-old George Simpson Jr. masturbating behind the wheel.
Fapping behind the wheel.
Yeah, there you go. The video shows him maneuvering the bus through heavy traffic and the Lincoln Tunnel. Could you imagine? While pleasuring himself on June 24th. The bus was traveling to Carteret from New York City. New Jersey Transit believe it charged Simpson with risking injury or damage by removing his hands from the wheel. What was he using? Both hands?
I guess.
What the hell?
Or maybe using his elbows or something to steer it around.
He's also accused of lewdness and reckless driving. In the statement, New Jersey spokesman John Durso Jr. said the driver was immediately removed from service without pay because of disturbing and grossly irresponsible conduct. Pretty gross.
Yeah, very.
You know, you would think that his hands would stay on the wheel because it got stuck there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was looking for. Instead of a slippery wheel, he was looking...
Talk about slippery when wet, huh?
Yeah. Who knows? Anyway, because his uniform was stained, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they have those big windshield wipers. All right, they were on the outside, but I don't know. Well, good morning, Zappa One. Anyway, pretty gross stuff. Now you know what happens on buses, folks.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
Drivers get to masturbate on the go.
Harold Big Skid says, he was stroking. That's what he be doing. Stroking to the east, and I'm stroking to the west, and stroking to the middle. I love it.
That's no joking. Masturbating cocknose, of course, I want to hear from you. Masturbating too much causes erectile dysfunction. Yeah, it also makes your nose crooked, right, cocknose? I love that song, A.T. Earl, ruined the classic. All right, well. Anyway,
I have a really crazy...
Thank you for that story and that link, by the way.
Yeah, I really have a really crazy Wing Dang Doodle story.
Here we go, another one.
It's I guess it's another stand your ground case. A black...
I can't stand that ground law.
Yeah, Houston, this is from Houston, Texas. Houston area investigators are looking into a stand your ground case where a minor fender bender, a 22-year-old white male, was shot and killed by a 23-year-old black woman. During a morning commute, Crystal Scott and Jonathan Abels were in an accident and pulled into a Shell gasoline station to survey the damage. According to Scott, Abels exited his truck and ran toward her driver's side door. Scott said he yelled and then hit her door and tried to open it. And for fearing for her life, Scott pulled her pistol and shot Abels once through the driver's side window and struck him in the chest. And Abels died at the scene.
Wow.
Harris County Sheriff spokesman Sergeant Felipe Rivera said, from what we understand, it was maybe just a minor accident, while adding, the information we're getting is that it appeared to be a minor accident that turned into road rage. It says, nonetheless, the victim's girlfriend, Evelyn Bautista, claims that Abels was not aggressive. He's just a regular guy, she said. Abels' family members also claimed that it was hard to believe that he deserved his killing. Bautista believes Abels was merely attempting to exchange insurance information with Scott. Says, I'll leave it up to God. I'm not the one to judge. It's just unfair that they took him away from me just like that, she wept. I just want justice, that's it. Bautista was the first apprised of Abels' death via social media.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Wow.
Now, once again, country and mayhem. We're living in freaking mayhem.
Trigger happy people.
Yeah. Well.
Mm-hmm.
The old
Let me see.
West.
The old.
What it is. It's the old West.
Let me see. There was something I
One
wanted
person,
to
yeah.
read here.
Where's the kaboom?
Yeah,
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
I got some news.
That's some scary.
Remember that X-Mart store, that store that sells X-rated
I played
items?
the video at break.
Oh, you did?
At the
Okay.
Yeah, X-Mark got robbed again.
All right, X-Mart. This
again.
place has been robbed
8 times last year,
More
4
ti-
times this year.
It's been robbed more times than the Magic Market during the 70s.
Yeah. There
Which
you
is
go.
now Flood Foods, but
Okay, well,
I didn't know that.
yeah, that same blue and green logo.
let me just say this.
I like 7-Eleven.
That place obviously needs some beefed up security.
Yes.
But I heard, and we were all saying this on our show, every week we were kind of reporting there was another break-in at X-Mart.
Mm-hmm.
We did that for like 8, 9 times, I get said.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, 4 times. And they found out this year that it was an inside job. And, you know, I think about that. That has a double entendre, doesn't it? Inside
Yeah,
job.
inside job. It looks like
On a sex store.
somebody was coming in from the back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, you know, there's not going to be a lot of people screaming, you know, how dare you over a porno store getting robbed. I'm sure that these Bible Belt people that love to wear their belts 4 notches too in and with their bellies hanging out would love to, you know, argue that if it was a donut shop. But of course, a porno shop, they're not going to say shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, it says Big County's
How many
X-Mart
dildos
store.
did they steal?
Pardon?
How many dildos did they steal?
God only knows. I wonder if Howie Ansel was there. Big County's X-Mart adult store has been robbed again. The latest incident happened around 1 a.m. Friday. The suspect entered the store with a gun, demanding money and a cash register before fleeing the store. The suspect is described as a black male in his early 20s, approximately 5 feet 9 inches high, weighing about 179 pounds. And the suspect was wearing all black and also a mask to cover his face. Anyone with information on this case is urged to call the Bibb County Sheriff's Office at 478-746-9441 or the Macon Regional Crime Stoppers at 1-877-68-CRIME.
Question: the guy who said he had a mask, was that mask leather and had a zipper mouth closure and with spikes on it?
Didn't say that.
Kinky.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
Walked
You
around
never know.
whipping people up.
Yeah.
No, he whipped out his gun.
Pistol, that is.
Oh, pistol.
Firearm.
Pistol.
Yeah.
It's a pistol. All right. What else is I wonder who did it.
Yeah.
Who done it?
Who done
it?
The cockroach.
The
Now, leave the
cockroach.
caca. Oh, yeah, the cockroach with his cock out.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, Too Much. I wonder if George Zimmerman's face is going to be the new mask for Halloween. Well, that'll win the tackiest costume award. The last when I was at a party one time over with my sister Rosie, and
I could see it though.
The tackiest one was remember Munson, the guy that died in the plane.
Mm-hmm.
The guy walks in with a baseball cap and a Yankees cap and the whole thing. A little jet plane hanging off his neck, and he won the tackiest costume. I wonder if that's going to be the case.
Goodness, I hope not, because
Never
it's
know.
already been tacky enough. I mean, this trial, this case has already had a lot of stuff going on. I mean, the mask. Not only
I
that,
wouldn't wear it.
I
Get
mean,
my
no.
ass shot.
Oh no, because the thing is, there've been some pictures of teenagers, most of them white teens, basically Trayvani, which is kind of like planking, but just basically like people were like the plank and stuff last year or year before last. Now they're having like YouTube pictures of them Trayvon, which basically planking, but in the same way Trayvon Martin's dead body was hanging, that he's wearing a hoodie and have like a soda can on one side of him and a bag of Skittles on the other. It's like, it's just
unbelievable.
Really
well, Nical
really
3000
tacky.
says he's going as a Skittles box or package. They come in like package, no?
Yeah, they come in bags and stuff.
Yeah, bag. Yeah, you go like an old Skittles bag. All right, let me see. What else is in the news? You got anything?
Oh
Derek?
yeah. Basically, a nearly naked rape victim left outside as frightened homeowners called 911. A Florida couple declined to answer the door just before midnight when a nearly naked woman knocked and screamed that she had just been raped. Rather, the homeowners called 911. The couple inside the home refused to let the woman in because they said they were afraid to open the door. And the 911 call, the woman can be heard pleading in the background. The distressed couple begged police to hurry. Their home is an isolated area, and the couple feared for their safety if they opened the door. It took about 11 minutes for the police to arrive. It says police spokesman Lieutenant Jack Whipples added that if citizens are uncomfortable opening the door to someone seeking help, tell the person to calm down. You're calling 911 now, Whipples said in a statement. It says basically
a near naked woman running up to your door. It's a good thing that she knocked on the right door. If that was anybody else, they would have took her in and God knows what. The world that we live in, I wouldn't put it past it.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of the world that we live in, I remember we talked about only the good die young. This is another point to be made that this young man, Glee star, why don't you read the story? Corey Monteith. Although I never watched the show Glee, I never saw it. Somehow I heard this guy's name all the time.
Yeah, I aired the show for a while first. Yes, Corey.
He always said they always had good things to say about this kid.
Yeah. Corey Monteith, who played the heartthrob Finn Hudson on the Fox hit show Glee, was found dead in a Vancouver, Canada hotel room Saturday night, police said. He was 31 years old. Vancouver police said the cause of death was not immediately apparent, but they ruled out foul play. Medical examiners will conduct an autopsy later today. Monteith's body was discovered by staff members at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel after he missed his checkout time, according to Acting Chief Constable Doug Lepard. Monteith apparently had several people over to his room at one point Friday night, but Lepard said Monteith, who had checked in at July 6th, was seen on hotel surveillance video returning to his room in the early morning hours by himself.